An American story of betrayal and truth. The sharp slam of a heel on marble echoed through the grand foyer. Blake Remington, a billionaire in his prime, dropped his briefcase, his heart freezing at a sight no man should ever have to witness. His wife, Ava, stood poised, her knee raised, foot cocked back as if to strike his 74-year-old mother, Loretta. What followed was a confrontation that would unearth a missing family heirloom, a multi-million-dollar fraud, and a horrifying truth captured on camera that would leave everyone stunned. The marble foyer rang with a sudden, jarring sound. Blake had just walked in, and the sight before him stopped him dead in his tracks. His mother, Loretta, stood tall in her emerald gown, her pearls gleaming against her dark skin, chin lifted with the dignity of a queen. But just a few feet away, his wife, Ava, her blonde hair disheveled, a tight crimson dress clinging to her body, had her knee raised, her foot ready to kick Loretta's frail frame. Ava. Blake's voice was raw, echoing across the massive hall. Ava didn't lower her leg. Her face was twisted in rage, sweat beading on her cheeks. She provoked me. She grabbed me first. Loretta turned to her son, her face serene, her silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. Don't hide behind lies. I took her hand off my brooch. Nothing more. This girl raised her knee like a thug at a bar fight. The word girl made Ava's face flush purple. She dropped her foot, but stepped closer, venom in her eyes. There it is again. Girl. She doesn't see me as your wife. She talks down to me in front of the staff. She humiliates me every chance she gets. You think this is respect? You let her poison this house against me. Blake's eyes fell to the marble floor. A faint, scuff mark curved near Loretta's hemline, the telltale sign of a heel raised just a little too close. His jaw tightened. You humiliate yourself, Loretta cut in, her voice sharper now. The money, the clothes, the staff all wasted on a woman who acts like this. Blake, I gave her everything, Ava snapped, pointing a finger at Loretta. And still, she acts like she's a queen in her own right. She's a guest here. This is my home now. You think I don't know you? Whispering to the maids, turning them against me. You think I don't hear you calling me unsuitable, telling him to reconsider his marriage. Blake's hand shot out, grabbing Ava's wrist before she could get any closer to his mother. His grip was like iron. Don't point at her, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Don't ever point at my mother. Ava yanked her hand away, her eyes glistening with fury. See, it's always her side, even when she treats me like trash. Loretta's shoulders remained square. Trash is what trash does. You raised your leg to strike me in my son's home. That is not just rude. That is her nature. The words landed like daggers. Blake's stomach twisted. He had defended Ava countless times before, choking up her complaints to a culture clash or a miscommunication. But this her body poised to strike his mother, something he couldn't unsee. Ava's tone sharpened. You have no idea what it's like to be here. Blake, you don't hear her insults. She called me a thief. Were you? Loretta's voice cut in, her eyes piercing. Ava blinked, caught off guard. What? Were you taking money? Jewelry? Things that aren't yours? Blake's head jerked. Ava's mouth pressed into a thin line. She doesn't deserve an answer. She's not my judge. Loretta tilted her head. Your silence says enough. Blake stepped between them, breathing hard. He looked from the bruise forming on his mother's wrist to the fury etched on his wife's face. His voice was heavy with controlled rage. Do you know what it's like for me to walk into my home and see my wife trying to kick my 74-year-old mother? Don't lie to me, he roared, his voice shaking the chandelier above them. The maids, peeking from the hallway, froze, eyes wide, mouths clamped shut. No one dared to breathe. Loretta's eyes softened for a fleeting second, but her words remained unyielding. Son, a woman who raises her foot to me today will spit on your name tomorrow. Believe what you saw, not what she spouts. Ava's mouth quivered, and for the first time, Blake saw it. Not just anger, but fear. Fear of being exposed. Fear of being powerless in front of the staff and Loretta. Blake, she whispered, stepping closer, you can't humiliate me like this. Send them away. Tell them to leave. But Blake didn't move. His chest rose and fell, his voice icy cold. "I'm not sending anyone anywhere. If anyone leaves tonight, it will be you." Ava gasped, as if struck. "You wouldn't dare." Blake took off his jacket, walked over to Loretta, and draped it over her shoulders. The gesture was a silent statement of faith, respect, and duty. The staff watching from the hallway exchanged glances. No words were needed. Ava's face crumpled in rage. "Blake," he cut her off, his voice loud and commanding. "Close the doors. Pull the camera footage from every angle. No one leaves this house until we have seen the truth." The order echoed down the marble hall, final and devastating. Loretta stood taller. Ava's fury burned silently, and Blake's jaw clenched, ready for the fallout. The head of security arrived with a tablet and bowed slightly. In seconds, a feed from the foyer's hidden camera filled a wall screen. Blake crossed his arms, his expression unreadable. The recording flickered to life. Loretta's dignified figure appeared first, walking into the hall, her voice crisp. "Ava, my sapphire bracelet is missing. It was in my dresser yesterday. Today it's gone." Gasps rippled through the staff. Blake's eyebrows knitted together. That bracelet wasn't just an heirloom. It was his late father's last gift to his mother. The footage showed Ava storming in her red dress, cutting sharp lines across the marble. Her voice was mocking. "Blaming me now. Maybe you're getting senile. You're not young anymore." Loretta didn't flinch. She pulled a folded document from her clutch and slapped it onto the foyer table. "And what about this, Ava? A transfer of $4 million to your brother's so-called consulting firm. A firm with no clients. You think I wouldn't find out?" On the screen, Ava's face went pale with panic. Instead of answering, she lunged at Loretta, clawing for the blue brooch on her chest. Loretta's hand shot up, a swift move to ward her off. Then came the moment no one could deny. Ava went back, fury blazing, and lifted her foot, her heel arcing up toward Loretta's stomach. The audio captured the scrape of her heel against the marble as Loretta barely shifted aside. The hall erupted with whispers. Blake's voice sliced through them. "Pause it." The screen froze on Ava's leg midair. Her face twisted in rage. He turned to her slowly, his voice low and grave. "You tried to kick my 74-year-old mother. After all the fraud and lies, that's who you are." Ava's breath came in gasps. "She provoked me. She grabbed me first. The paper. It's not what it seems," she blurted out. Loretta's voice, cold as stone, carried across the room. "I moved your hand from my brooch. That is all. And that paper is from your husband's accountant. Do you dare call him a liar too?" Ava's lips trembled. "It was a loan. My brother needed help." Blake snapped. $4 million without telling me. From our accounts. You humiliate my mother. You humiliate this house. And you steal from us while doing it. Do you know how pathetic that looks? Ava tried to lash back, but the staff's murmurs grew louder. One of the younger maids, emboldened by the evidence, stepped forward. Her voice shook, but she held the truth. "Mr. Remington, Madame Ava told me last week she'd make your mother fall if she didn't stop being nosy." The blood drained from Ava's face. She whirled on the maid. "Liar, you're all against me." Blake roared, "Enough. Every time you open your mouth, you bury yourself deeper." He turned to the staff. "Play the rest." The footage continued. Ava sneering, calling Loretta a drama queen, while blaming her for everything. Loretta stood proud, never raising her voice, never stooping to insult back. And then the cold frame again. Ava's leg lifted like a weapon. When the screen went black, Blake's eyes locked onto his wife. "Look at them," he said, gesturing with his arm to the staff. "Let them see now. No more lies. No more games. You've exposed yourself. A thief, a fraud, and a woman willing to strike my mother." Ava's voice broke. "Blake, don't do this to me in front of them. Please." He cut her off. "Humiliation is what you gave my mother. Tonight, it will be returned." He pulled his wedding ring from his finger and let it drop onto the console table with a metallic clink. "This ring was for trust. You killed that trust with every lie, every insult, every stolen dollar." Ava reached desperately, but Blake stepped back. His voice was final. "Security will escort you to the guest wing. Tomorrow, You will leave this house. The accounts are frozen. The police will get the footage and the documents, and you will never raise a hand or a foot against my mother again." Tears streamed down Ava's face, but the guard's steps were heavier than any tear could wash away. 2 guards moved forward. She jerked once, but Blake's glare froze her in place. Loretta clutched the jacket Blake had draped over her shoulders. She looked at her son, a mix of pride and pain in her eyes. "You chose the truth tonight. Your father would be proud." Blake knelt and kissed his mother's forehead, his fury melting into guilt. "I let it go on for too long. Never again." The doors closed behind Ava as she was led away, her heels clacking against the marble like a drumbeat of her downfall. The staff dispersed in silence, their faith unshaken, their respect for Loretta untouchable. And in that great hall of marble and gold, Blake stood by his mother, no longer just a billionaire, but a son who had finally defended the woman who raised him. "Would you choose your wife or your mother?" Blake chose truth, and his whole house bore witness.